All right, cool. Hey guys, my name is Jung. I don't know if you guys have had me yet. I'm a TA for one of the classes over at G.Tech. I fill in with Shaheen, and right now JD, I think he's on a break, so he asked me to fill in for you guys for one of the sessions once, so here I am today. I know that there's other bootcamp students here right now. I see some names I don't recognize and stuff, so the cohort that I'm teaching right now and I'm going through, we just started React. So before I get anywhere underway, is there anything specific that everybody wants to cover? And if so, just leave a message real quick. Whether it's React, connections, deployments, testing, backend, front end, anything that you guys want to cover. I'll take all the suggestions and then we can go from there. And also disclaimer, I am not as good as JD. I wish I was. But I need a lot more experience in that, so I'll try my best to kind of guide everybody along the way. And this will be recorded, so I'll record everything, and then I'll upload to YouTube somewhere, and then I'll give you guys out the link afterwards. If you're coming from a different cohort, I'll send the YouTube link to JD so that he can send it to you guys, because I don't have access to where you guys are right now. So if you're just joining right now, please just leave like a message or like just type in the Zoom chat, like, is there anything specific that you guys want to cover? If not, the idea that I have right now is I'll briefly go through some basic React products because I'm mostly expecting my cohort students. And then I'm going to go over some basic React stuff, build an application, and then launch it through AWS. So AWS push the zip file of your repository into S3 bucket, and then deploy through EC2. So even if you are a student and you're like, hey, we're really far and I'm bored of React right now, why are you doing this all slow stuff? The later parts might be more interesting to you if you guys want to learn how to deploy through AWS. If that sounds cool, yeah, good message. Oh God, how do people do this? So my audio sounds muffled. Can nobody hear me? That's like done. Does that sound better? Okay, so I have to get closer. Crap. Okay, you'll have to deal with my ugly mug for a while. All right, so basically what I said was, if you guys have any questions, please please type them into the chat. If not, I'll just be going through what I'm thinking about going through. So I am a TA in one of the cohorts, and the cohort that we're in right now, we just started React. So I'll just be going over basic React concepts and then building an application through it. After building a simple one, I will be pushing it through AWS, storing it in the S3 bucket, and then deploying it through EC2. So if something like that sounds cool to you guys, I'll be doing that no matter what. If there's anything more specific, please leave that comment in the chat, and we can go from there. So I'll give you guys a minute if there's anything else that you guys want to like type out, and then we can start. Also, hi, my name is Jung. I'm a TA, like I said, in one of the cohorts. And what was it? I'm not as good as JD, but I'll try my best, okay? If you're coming from another cohort, I am recording this, so I'll send the YouTube link. You're using Mongo or MySQL? Probably Mongo, because we just covered that for our class, right, Ron? We just covered it last week, and I think everybody's pretty comfortable with MySQL, hopefully. And I'll deploy it through MLab, because if you haven't done the web scraper homework yet, you do need to go through a deployment through Heroku and MLab, but MLab does serve its own, MLab is its own thing, and they actually host it through DynamoDB on AWS anyway, so kind of the same thing at the end. But that's if I want to do the whole Mongo and React all together. I'll decide that as the questions come in. But yeah, if you're coming from another cohort, I'll send the YouTube link when I upload this to JD, so you can leave it to your guys' Slack, because I only have access to mine, or my classes. Could you do a quick revision of arrow function in ES6 before React? Yeah, sure. Okay. Oh God, first question, I'm nervous now. Okay. pop open this bad boy and start. 1 second, I'm just opening like a thing. And it's pretty bare. There we go. Share. So you also my students better appreciate me. I bought the what's this? What do you call this? Zoom Pro or whatever. So all of you guys can get in here. I hate all my kids, by the way. No, but yeah. Anyway, so this is a very empty repository. See, I just have a backend and a front end, so nothing super open right now. So just go into. Oh god, this is nice. Right, get rid of my face. There we go. Much better. The chat here. Okay, so I think the very first thing I got asked was go over arrow functions. Yeah. Can you start from scratch? Yeah, let me answer the arrow function question real quick, and then I can get rid of these and redo it. You know what? That's fine. There's really nothing in it right now, so okay. So we'll just do it in. Actually, no. What was it? Just a pro tip: when you're working with components in this, you have to have it not capitalized. So cool. Or else it doesn't know where to find it. It's basically like handlebars when you do layouts and views. You have to have it all lowercase. I'm just going to touch. Let's call it arrow.js. Just in case if I ever use this thing. All right, so arrow functions. So what you guys are currently used to right now is, let's see, ES5 var, some function, something. Oh, God, my God. I'm not used to writing ES5 functions again. Hold on. But I'm be like, what? Var, some function is equal to. Wait, I actually forgot how to write some parameter. Etc. I think like this is what you guys are used to seeing in terms of like, ignore the red. This is my ESLint, so it's gonna be red because it doesn't like not arrow functions. So I think this is something you guys are used to right now. Just a normal function, right? Turn, say hi, and then you just run this function, and this is the way you call it. Cool. The reason why when ES5 upgraded to ES6 that the arrow function was introduced, and a big part of that was the problem with the keyword this. And I know everybody loves this because they can never say this without saying this to describe this, right? Everybody loves this. But unfortunately, a lot of developers don't like it so much because the idea of referencing itself multiple times through this has been a little bit annoying. So arrow function was kind of an introduction into figuring out binding issues with this. So whenever you don't have to bind specific things with this keyword, the arrow function is a great way to solve that issue. And I know that was just a ton of words tossed at you guys, so let's go through the concept. So because we're going to show arrow functions, we're going to use ES6 const, say constant function. Cool. So this is what it would look like. It's not red right now because my ESLint was like, all right, cool, use an arrow function. So let's break this down. You first declare as a variable, const or let. Your functions will like 99% of the time be const, because remember, constant let, the difference is let tends to be a more mutable. Whenever you have a let variable, it is done so because it is mutable. Meanwhile, const, it is immutable. And what I mean by that is, even though the content within the function, for example, a for loop, you change what the return is at the end, right? But because you're not inherently changing what that function does, like you're not changing any of what it's going to do inside, you will use const. So you'll type in const, you'll type in the name that you want to name it to, and then this is the way that you do it. You do the equals, you have an empty parentheses, and then the arrow, or I think we call this the fat arrow, which is the equal, and then is this greater than? Yeah. And then curly braces. So this is what the basic arrow function will look like. Now, remember parameters are, an example would be user input. My slide's wrong. So what I mean by that is every time I describe parameters to students, I say it's like having an email sign up form, right? So you have a box. So let's actually make it this. Let's actually make this into email sign up, right? When you're signing up for an email, it'll ask for your username, it'll ask for a password, it'll ask for, what else does it ask for? Confirm password, I think, and the email address that you want to have, right? Or this would be the email address. This would be confirm password, and I don't know what this would be. Date of birth, sure. Right. So anytime you have a parameter, what you want to do is think of it as, okay, what is the user input going to be? Sorry, I'm going to mute everything. So what is the user input going to be? Oh, sorry, that was my Asian phone call. Whenever you want to pass in a user input, this is the way that you would do it. So those are the parameters here. So the parentheses here is for the parameters. Afterwards, whatever goes inside is just the common things that you guys are used to, right? So in this example, let's say I want to do an email sign up. I'll do const data array and probably stores an object or something. Element 4. So I think this is a great example of using this is a great example of using let because we are inherently changing the value of this I, right? It's becoming 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So because we're changing the inherent nature of the I, we're using let. And for this specific object, or whether it's an array or object, whatever you guys want to use, will still be const because you're not changing the nature of this variable, right? You're not changing this array to an object or vice versa. Therefore, you would use const. So the only thing that is confusing when you first write this is just the way you write it. Once you start writing it, it becomes second nature. As you could probably tell, I got lost writing a normal one. And the main purpose of this is when you don't have to worry about using this keyword, where you're worrying about binding, because it will inherently take care of the binding nature for you. Because remember, when you're doing this, is to say that whatever this, I need to think of this without using the word this, whatever the function and whatever it is referring to, that it cannot see because it is outside of its own local scope, that is when you will use this keyword. If there's no such issues to do so, where you're worrying about, where is everything going to bind to, the arrow function will inherently bind everything for you, and it won't become a problem. I don't know if that made complete sense. If not, I can cover it again. If everybody's okay with this, I'll move on to the next question, which will be apparently starting from scratch. Also, just message me if it's harder to hear me as well. So are we all okay? Can I move on to, can you start from scratch? I guess to set up the folders for what a full stack application will look like. Okay, cool. I got the cool word. All right. So let's see, where am I? It's just taking a while because of none modules. Give it a sec. Come on. Cool. All right, this is a completely empty repository. So let's start off with so let's walk through what building a full stack application looks like, because I think a lot of students, especially when you guys are going through project 2 and 3, sometimes get really confused about, and my class definitely knows that I yelled at everybody for this. When you're building a full stack application, the most important part that matters is what are you building? And I think a lot of people kind of just stop at this level imprint because they have a general conceptual idea and then they think, okay, I understand everything because in my head, I can imagine what that app will look like, whether it's a note-taking app, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever you guys are building. And then the thought process kind of ends there. I think now that you guys have gone through 2 projects, and if the other classes, I hopefully went through 2 and you're starting 3, you guys are probably understanding that this is a lot of more thinking process, right? I can tell you guys, hey, a car has a steering wheel, engine, 4 wheels. But if you were to ask me, okay, how do you put everything together? I cannot give you an answer. So this, in my opinion, is the most important part of your development cycle. So spending a lot of time at this point is perfectly natural. And I understand this can be a little bit, it is a difficult thing to think about if you're coming from a more traditional academia perspective, right? Because let's be honest, how many of you guys, when you're writing your college essays or your high school essays or whatever essays you wrote, how many times did you guys actually brainstorm, like spend like a solid hour to brainstorm? You just kind of thought of a couple ideas and then started writing your essay out. Sometimes you get stuck on a point and then you keep writing and then go back and maybe edit a few times, right? To put those ideas in. In coding, that is not an option because the functionality that you put inside matters so much because it's time, and time is especially money, right? So consider this like the architecture level, right? So what are we gonna build? And let's think of an idea. Let's say I want to build a note-taking. Maybe we'll build this thing, I don't know. Yeah, why not? We'll see how good I am at React. So let's say I want to build a note-taking app. What are some functionalities that I need? One, I need to, well, choose a database, right?
Oops.
So
okay, there
let's
we go.
say I choose one. Oh, okay. Whoever that is, please. Wait, oh, I can mute. Sorry, I'm muting you. Wait, did it work?
No.
Oh, cool. I think that worked. All right. So the very first thing, let's choose a database. So the first step is choosing your tech stack. So choose MongoDB. Let's say choose a front end. So now that we're on React, let's choose React. Cool. So that's kind of the most biggest parts, right? But here's another question. What are you going to build your routes with, right? And I think you guys are used to Express right now, but there's other things out there. I think one is Honey. You could do with, there's one more that I don't remember off the top of my head, but choose what you're going to build your routes with. What are you going to test with? You guys are used to Mocha Chai right now, but with React comes Jest and Enzyme. And finally, what are we using to deploy our stuff? So you guys are used to Heroku, GitHub, Pages. And finally, what I kind of want to introduce you guys is AWS. So EC2. And code deploy, but I still a little bit confused with this one, so I don't know how far I get. But there's code deploy, Elastic Beanstalk, and ECR. But this is more specifically Docker. And I know I'm tossing tons of like words at you guys. I'm just having you guys be aware that these are things to worry about, right? So I know everybody knows Heroku. Everybody should know GitHub Pages, I hope, and then AWS, right? Cool. So I pick my tech stack. So I'm going to say use MongoDB. Maybe I'll even choose Mongoose, right? ODM. Yeah. Press. Oh, wait. 1B. And what is my library going to be? Let's say, I think no library. There was. Sure. Right. So think all these through. All right, I chose my tech stack. Now I want to choose, I'm going to write what functionalities am I going to do? Let's start with, so this is kind of the whole idea of TDD, or test-driven development. Test-driven development is a very common thing that occurs in companies, so you guys should be really comfortable with it. The idea is that you will write your tests first before you write any of your functionalities or build your website. Now, that sounds really backwards, because why would I test something that I haven't made yet, right? The desire, or the reason why this is a routine is because by writing your tests, you're forcing yourself to really, really think about what functions you're going to write. And by forcing you to take this measure and forcing you to take this step, it's making it so that during your actual development cycle, whether it's 2 weeks or sprints for 3 days, or whichever it happens to be, that you don't have that awkward discussion with your teammates of, hey, what about this function? Are you adding this functionality or not, right? So I'm not expecting like my students or anything like that to be really, really hardcore about TDDing, like checking everything, right? But it should be a practice that should be thought of to force you guys to really think out your functionalities, right? If this brainstorming part is too hard for you, force yourself to think, okay, I have to write my test before anything else to get you guys to think in that framework. I'm still bad at this. So this is also me practicing. So I'm going to, through TDD, I'm going to say, all right, I am building a note-taking app. What are some functionalities that I think is important? Well, first of all, I would definitely say I need to have a title space, a comment space, and a place to display the information. Cool. So how am I going to handle this? I'm going to say handle through routing routes, database schema. And this will be AJAX calls, right? Because you'll be typing something in from the front page, and then you'll click on a button, on a submit button, or whatever it may be, and that will send that information to the database, and you'll display it somewhere else, right? See how I could just say, well, it's a note-taking app. Of course, I need to have like a title place, and then a comment space, and then I press a button to submit, right? I went even deeper than that. How are we going to do it, right? It's going to go to a route called submit, for example, right? And if it goes to a route called submit, well, it has to connect to the database schema. And since I'm using database ODM, it's maybe going to look like the title, something, comment, something, right? And then it's going to do an AJAX call on that onClick function of the button, which is going to submit to the database. Okay. So again, it's really good to get down really deep into this. Suffer here now, and suffer less when you're building. When you're coding, you should only want to when you're coding, you want to turn off the creative side of your brain and just type. Be a code monkey as much as you can. Make your life easier. And the project manager of the group should be the one like hammering this through, right? So after you guys plan this out, the project manager should be constantly checking on your boards, your management boards and things like that, and say, hey, who did this? Who did this? Now, this is kind of all this application is going to do, right? So this is, I'm going to say MVP. Is there, we'll add into MVP as well. 2VB, look nice with material. Cool. Shaheen mentioned this, my instructor, and I think we mentioned it as well. It's very hard and difficult to build a full stack application within the time frame that you guys are given. I know in Project 3, we gave you guys an additional week or so, and I'm sure that the students, at least my students, should have probably scattered out, looked around the class and said, okay, I want to work with this people, this person, make your alliances in your groups already, think of an idea, excuse me, and already go through the thinking process of what you want to build, which is good. But remember, 3 weeks is still not a lot of time. When you get to a job, unless you're working at a startup, you're going to be building features of products that are already created in those 2 weeks, right? And you're working with a team of developers that have been doing this for a while that will help you integrate into it. So understand that building a full stack application in that short of a time frame is really difficult. So don't think too much, right? So if this list that I just did here, this 2B, it's way too long. Let's say there's a 2BC, 2BD, etc., right? You guys need to learn how to scale back. All these ideas are cool, but understand that it is really difficult, especially if you're working in the part-time cohort. Then you guys have your full jobs, and then you come home and you're tired, and you're like, oh, I need to code, but I'm super tired, but I don't want to code. But I have to get on Zoom to talk to my group, and then you start crying because you don't have any rest. And, oh no. And then your life falls apart. So try and ignore that as much as you can by making the MVP as simple as possible. The reason why Grubhub and things like that are famous is because the fact that it's easy to use, but it only does one thing, which is ordering food. Pick one thing. So now that we pick something here, this is going to be the icebox for cool things to have. So I have no idea what this color changed. What do I want to do? Cool things to have. Login authentication. Editing the text. Deleting the text. Honestly, I should be putting this in here, but yeah, I should be responsive. Login authentication, sharing, right? Maybe you want to share this through Twitter API, which is you have to pay for. Instagram API, I don't know if they share. Oh, right, Instagram stories, I think they're called. Yeah. Maybe you want to send an email about it, right? So cool ideas. What else is there? All right, just cool ideas to have. So we'll stop here. All right. So this, how long did I spend? I spent maybe what, 15 minutes going through just like coding over thinking of an idea. So this is the very first part you guys should be doing. And then breaking it down to who's doing what part, when are we, and oh, right. I totally forgot because I'm really dumb. After the application was built, deploy through, let's say AWS. Cool. Deployment. One more here in the database. We are going to store this database information and have you know, in Heroku, for example, one of the homework that you guys had to submit through was JawsDB. If you guys ever really look closely at the URL that the JawsDB gives you, it's still a AWS RDS, Relational Database Services account. So you're not really, if you don't think you know AWS, if you don't think, hey, I never used AWS, think again, you have. It just goes under different names because whoever made those things, they don't want to make their own database services, and why should they, right? Use what's already given to you. Cool, the ideas are done. Now let's actually get to the coding part. And I know this is really long, but like I said, it's really important. So let's do make directory server. And I'm actually going to start with the server because when you're going through your development process, you should first start with the server. I know it's very tempting to build like the front end immediately, but make sure your databases are all connected first. Like that will make your life so much easier than anything else possible. So cd server plus npm init y, because I'm too lazy to type. Done. There it is. Let's install Express. Let's install Mongo.js, of course. Let's install Mongoose. I think we'll start with those three for now. If we need more, I'll install them. And can't see where you're typing? Ah, it's typing so much. Hold on. Wait, really? Oh, you can't see my terminal? How important is it for you guys to see my terminal? Just a quick question. Because all the responses should be right at the page. Can you guys see it better? I don't know. I don't know why that's happening. Because I'm sharing my desktop. Okay, hold on. Does everybody see the package JSON right now in the server folder? Oh wow, that's the fastest response I got. Cool. All right. Let me know. The terminal thing will matter in a little bit when I show you guys the. Where is it? When I show you guys AWS, and I'll have it popped up here to make it clear. So I won't be doing that part of the code in the VS Code because this is a lot more difficult. So over here. Also, I learned how to do this through just reading literally like Medium articles. So following Medium articles and doing so, it's perfectly natural, like everybody does. Cool. All right, we have that set up. Let's touch server.js. Here it is. Here's what's gonna happen. I am too lazy to be bothered to type everything. So let's take advantage of our class stuff. Here's your class stuff. And figure out what parts that we need. Oh my God, what a mess. Have I? Okay, now I'm good. we only push the answers to you guys. We never actually get told. That's my sin. So cool. Oh. Oh, my ESLint is going crazy. All right. I won't copy paste it so that I can talk it through. Morgan's a logger. Basically, when you have errors and stuff, it logs for you. It is cool to have, but not the most. It's not really necessary, so I'm going to ignore that part for now. Require. COs to make AJAX calls. Done. Wait, what happened? Failed to parse. That's interesting. I never got that in before. Hold on. Let's look up this error. Failed to parse JSON. npm failed to parse JSON. What happened? npm cache clean. Let's try that out. npm5. As of npm5, the cache self-heals from corrupted issues, blah, blah, blah. So see if I kill the terminal, go back in. Package JSON with some stuff in the JSON format. Oh, because I know what I was trying to do. I remember now. Thank you. I'll put a comma here because I wanted to do, thanks, good catch. Also, run, launch. Thank you. So that should solve that. Oh, you're awesome. Yeah, the error was to put a comma here because I want to make this. Oh, so I had some students ask me why, we do npm start or what's another one? npm tests, right? So why is it that when some of the class nodes or some of the class activities you guys had npm run watch, why do we have to type the run, right? Because we just see the watch here. The reason is because some of these script words are taken. These are keywords. So you don't have to do npm run to run it. But for something like watch, because this is not a registered keyword with them, you have to type in npm run and then whatever that's script file or script name that you want to do, and it will do that function for you. So I know some of the students got a little bit confused with that, so that's what that does. That the non. Let's have all this stuff right here. We'll have that. There's a child singing as loud as he can outside my house or apartment. Feels good. This part, copy paste. So basically, encode your URL, cool. JSON file, cool. Make it into a JSON file. Public, cool. Thread because I do single quotes, not double quotes. Cool. All right. So how are we going to connect the mongoose? I don't know. Let's go to, so I'll put this in the Slack. I know some people are very averse to using MDN. I pop this open because this is a tutorial to teaching you how to use Express, Mongoose, etc. Right? So I'm gonna scroll down. Hey, look at all these ideas and cool stuff. So this is what this does. A little bit too easy. So let's make sure. So we have mongoose.connect and whatever that database name would be. So I'll have to make that database later in the routes. And then I make the connection and all the other stuff. I'll take out a few things. Put this glass part here.
Abby, I'll press it. What? What's this?
I was trying to see where Rebels are.
I can hear people.
Kevin's got a whole.
Who it is? Scream, save the picture.
I don't know who this person is. He's not in our class. Or they have to be in our class. Who's this? Kevin.
No. He's not in our class. We don't have anyone.
Wait, hold on. Nana, Imani, you guys are unmuted right now.
Oh.
Let's mute that real quick.
Sorry.
That's cool.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm gonna just template literal this. Yeah. Remember, template literals are literally the backticks. If you're using a Mac, it's above the tab. If you're using a normal computer, it's still above the tab. So anytime it's a variable, do the $, curly brackets, and what that variable name would be, which would be port here. Everything else is just a comment. This won't run because I need to pop up in a console. OD. Cool. So my MongoDB is connected to port 27017. And then what was it? Mongo. Cool. Works. Checked real quick. Go away. Anything more specific I need right this moment. We'll call this some database. But yeah, right now this isn't gonna run because I haven't set up any schemas and stuff, but I just wanted to set up some basic structures, right, before we move on to anything else. Any questions so far? How are we feeling? Oh, I see what we did. There's no questions. I'm gonna just build a simple schema model and then move on. Yeah, I just want to build the server and then we'll build the models and then we'll build a route real quick. Yeah, I was trying to do this on different folders. Okay, we're all cool with that. I copy pasted you. So the axis something. Cool. So where am I? There. So let's make directory model, make directory controllers. Controllers are what I call the routes, but if you're more comfortable calling it routes, go for it. And I'm going to use controllers, CD models. Okay, and I'm going to do touch Node.js. Yeah, Node.js. Why not? So here we are. Cool. So how am I going to set up my schema? Find it. Cool. Okay, this one's better. Cool. Pressing wrong buttons. There's something else, right? I had to require something. Yeah, nope, don't have to do that. Sometimes the red makes me nervous. So we'll have a title, we'll have a comment box, I guess. Const, nope. Yeah, oh. To model, note, and then this will be your database. Let's call it note. Cool. So what did I do, right? What? Oh, wait, hold on. That should be schema. Check. Oh, I'm being done. One second. So model, yeah, there we go. There we go. Cool. That red. All right. So the breakdown of this is I'm in the models folder where I'm going to be making the schemas that I want. I'm going to call on it. I'm going to make what the database, right, basically how it's going to take the object look like. So title is going to be taking the string, comment will be a string, not a date. And then this is kind of like the exporting sector of how you would think about it. So when you have the database, how are you going to refer to it, right? And that's where that will be taken care of. build. Where am I? A is equal to require leave once, go into models, get the note. One second. I think I forgot something. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I forgot something. Yeah, I was like, I forgot something. Something felt really off when I typed that. Thanks for the catch. Good catch, guy. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Okay. So let's start thinking about the routes. We're going to do router. Where are you at right now? Islam. Icky. Let's just do the most basic one. There's not going to be data retrieved because it's empty right now, but I just want to. Yeah. I'll be red. You should never be red. Oh. Hold on. I'm gonna leave it like this. So when you are, I know why that did that. So here's what this looks like. When you are just working with an arrow function, but you're only passing or returning one single thing, there is no need to do the curly brackets that you guys are used to. You can just do return res.json data. And like this will take it. Now it doesn't want to take it, but yeah. When you're just returning one thing, so that's why this error is popping up, but it's an ESLint thing. Like this is perfectly fine, so you don't have to do anything fancy with it. So we did all that. Connection won't be made right now because there is no thing to get, but we have a basic idea of what we want to do. And the real thinking that we did, we checked the idea empty, get full screen real fast, is close or minimize right window. It's kind of hard for me because then I can't see you guys' typing. So I'll try to get it out of the way as much as I can. I can get rid of this part. I'll put it like here. I think that's like the most. Workspace is hard. So we see here that I only have a title space, comment, and then places for the information. And I just, looks like I just want to post it, right? I just want to show it or post the content. So on this get, you should be getting back the data. Post, I should be posting the data after the button is clicked. Okay, so we have all that in here. Now I'm going to leave this for a little bit. And I understand this feels really jumpy around, but I just want to kind of show you guys what like the full stack development will look like, right? So I set up my basic server, and now I want to set up my client side, right? My front end. I'm going to do create React app. We're going to call it client. Installing. Actually, while we wait for this, here, who doesn't have their AWS account set up? Or, yeah. Let's start with that. Does anybody have to, like, does anybody need help? Like, do they have an AWS account at all? If you don't have an AWS account, can you let me know right now? If there's a lot of you guys, then I'm not going to do the EC2 thing. I'll show you guys, but I'm not going to do it. No, wait. Yeah, I'll show you guys. Actually. Don't have one. Don't have it. I don't have it. Okay, never mind. I guess I'm not doing this. Oof. I'll just talk it conceptually real fast. So AWS, really cool. Set it up. And how you deploy through AWS is you will take your repository and you will compress it, like a zip file. So click on it. You'll see here, right here, it's zipped. This is my actual code, like my code repository. So put it in here. I go to EC2, and it will create a instance of your code. What I mean by instance, it's imagine if there's like another virtual DOM like you have in your React, and it's just gonna store that particular instance of your computer, of your website. And if you guys know Docker, this should kind of make sense. If you have 1,000 users on that one page and there's an extra user, 1,001st user, you'll get a new instance. That way you never overload your computer or overload your website with like 20 million users, because they will constantly make instances to make sure that there's no big like killing your service. So we see one running instance. This will connect for you, and see if it's still running. Yay, cool. So I'm just working on this. I started yesterday or 2 days ago-ish, but this is not React. I wish it was. But what happened is this instance grabbed the S3 buckets zip file, and it created itself, like it decompressed the zip file, it grabbed that bucket, and then it's its own terminal. Like I had to install Node within that specific EC2 instance. And after I do that, I'll install Node, I'll npm install it, just like you go into your code. And then I just deployed it, right? Node server.js, when you guys run your stuff. But by using a specific npm package called PM2, this is persistent management? Yeah, process management, cool, I was wrong. But this will keep your website running forever. So this is the deployment method for EC2. Let me see, where they're fine. I will post these 2 articles. If you have a project, for example, that's like when you do npm, like Node server.js, and it runs perfectly fine, you can do this with your AWS account. You can run it through just like the ones that I've shown you here. If anybody's interested in that kind of stuff, because it looks like there's quite a few of you guys that don't have AWS, I'm not going to go through it here. So here's some links to go through. Cool. Yay, it downloaded. CD client. Oh. Wait, why did I do yarn long? Okay. Do you guys care about the difference between yarn and npm? That's one yes, I'll answer. So now that you guys got into React, right? I'm sure you guys have seen Yarn install, right? So what Yarn is Facebook's package manager. It's basically what NPM is, but Facebook was like, we want to have full control. So there's a company called Yarn, and they bought it out, and they bought Yarn. Now, what you have to understand is that when you use Yarn in a project, you can only use Yarn. If you're going to do NPM, only use NPM. Like pick one or the other. A long time ago, Yarn used to be faster than NPM. And the primary reason for that is that Yarn made something called yarn lock file, which is very similar to the package lock JSON files that you guys are used to seeing today. And I don't know the full understanding behind this. It's basically me reading through an article, but before, because the yarn lock JSON existed, when people git cloned and then like yarn installed, running their repositories and stuff, it was significantly faster than NPM. But NPM realized, hey, nobody's using our service because it's slower. They included package-lock JSON. So now, honestly, the speed is very there's honestly no difference. It's negligible at this point, but some people are still really into Yarn, which is great. Like Yarn works fine, but some people are really into NPM, which is great as well. Just do what your job tells you to do, like whether you use Yarn or NPM. But just know that as of this moment, in terms of efficiency, they're exactly the same, or not exactly the same, but basically the same. And if one person says Yarn is still infinitely faster than NPM, then you can tell them that. But so this example, I installed it through, this is just going to exist, but I installed it through NPM. I did it through NPM install, so here we are. A node modules. Cool. So let's ls. Let's do NPM start. Okay. Cool. And it's going to give us the React page that we're all used to seeing in a while. I promise you, it seems slower, but React is really fast. Let's get rid of some files that's not needed at all. I should probably note them on it, but whatever. So I'm going to get rid of app.css, index.css, get rid of logo. Oh, hold on. CD source. So, gone. I'll leave it be. Now that we got rid of that, let's get rid of some stuff that's no longer needed. Don't need that. Where's index.js? I need to get rid of the. Oh, I think I got rid of it. Okay, cool. Let's go check. Second. I think that's how I did it. Whoops. That's not going to work. Wait, what? That should not have worked. It's a, oh, there you go. I was like, did I remove this or not? Wait, wrong. Can't resolve indexes. Okay, there we go. It resolved itself. I guess I did fine. Cool. So it's acting very sus. Delete. So okay, it's acting way too weird for me right now. What's happening? There. That's weird. Okay. Hi there. Cool. We got that out of the way. Let's talk about why we use React. So first thing I'm going to do is make a components. Did I spell that right? Oh, really important. Please spell this correctly. So if I'm making a note-taking app, let's do this. Let's make it pretty. Or we'll make a navbar.js. I think that should be fine. If you wanted to have your own CSS files for each one of them, here's another thing you can do. I'll just make one for like demonstration purposes, but I'm not actually gonna do it. So you put the, you would separate all the components through folders as such. And then you go into it. Would you show how to AWS instead of localhost using this line? Connect to MongoDB. So because not everybody has AWS, I'll just go through the concept of it. Do you see that MongoDB localhost unit 18 populate, like that line? That would be the URL that you will get from, say, MLab, right? Because MLab will do the hard part for you. Basically, you just put in your information, and then they'll do, connect you to a AWS database, and you'll copy paste that line of DynamoDB, whatever it is, into where that URL would be, and then that'll be it. Does that make sense? I'm talking specifically from MLab because when you guys are submitting your homework, which is due on Tuesday for my class, you have to use MLab because you're going to deploy through Heroku. So that's why I'm using specifically MLab. But even if it was DynamoDB, which is the non-relational database connection from AWS, you'll still be given a similar link, right? Remember when we messed around with relational database services when we did MySQL? After we waited a few minutes setting it up, it gave us a rds.aws.amazon.com link, right? So DynamoDB does something similar, and you would copy paste that link into your double quote section there, where it goes to localhost unit 18 populated. Does that make sense? Cool. Any other questions in regards to that? Or can I go on? So what was I talking about? Oh, so you should be separating everything in your terminal and your components through these. Do you guys remember inline styling? So inline styling is when you write your CSS within that component. With its footer.js, you'll write all your CSS style in here, and that is perfectly normal as well. But I think some people are very used to having separate, doing separation of concerns and have CSS files separate from the footer and all that stuff. So it really is up to the developer. But for example, I like to do this. have a CSS file, and then import or something like that, right? So this is something I would do, but everybody's up to their own taste if they like to do the inline styling. Font color equals blue. Font size. It's fonts. I don't think it's font size. Inline styling for React has its own syntax, like syntactic sugar. Like, do you see how this number is strings? Measures a little bit different like this. So that's how you would organize your structures. And also doing this is nice because there's two different ways that we test React. So I mentioned Jest, right? You can have your test folders, which I'll probably just make one right now. I need to make this once. You would have to make directory, I think it's 2 underscores like that. This would be a test folder. And if you use just an enzyme, this would be all your tests, where all your tests would go. But again, this is kind of a developers are like, it's your own developer taste thing, where if you want to have all your tests within the test folder, that's perfectly normal. If you want to have your tests within each component, so like, let's say if I go back into the components footer, if I were to back here, I could definitely do footer.test.js, and it will still read it. Your test environment will read it. So this all goes, again, down into developer preference or company preference, how you would do your tests. So this is how that folder is structured. All right, so we're going to go look at materialize CSS React. Yes, this one. I can never spell materialize correctly. Materialize. Install. Do those 2 things. I like things here, so real quick. Install materialize CSS. Can everybody see the terminal on this? Sorry if it's small. Right here. While this is taking a little bit, let's go talk about. I'll show you. Nope. Crap. I really want to. Well, one, I want to introduce you guys to a really cool extension that every single one of you should have for React development. Where is it? Should be this. Like RCC and stuff. Just make sure. Yep, it's this one. All right, cool. So everybody should get this extension. I'll post it in the chat. Because you are about, as soon as that downloads, you're going to see the pinnacle of my laziness and why sometimes I can't write these things out, because I use shortcuts. So just as an example, so see, he types in RCC, bam, it builds your class components everywhere. If you're in my class, you definitely don't know what this is, and I'll explain this, I promise you, in like 30 seconds. But the idea is you will type in a few words and then it will build everything for you. And here's the list. The function one is RSF, you know, when you guys are used to seeing the function one, but get used to doing RCC. Now, what does RCC mean? Here's my send this up. You will be covering this in class, and it's the idea of does anybody remember what class was in ES6? Component in the sense, yes, it is a component. It is a way you can build a component in React, but I'm talking about just the class in ES6 in general. Shaheen mentioned this very, very shortly in class when we covered ES6 first. So basically, class is the idea of setting objects at a top level and then calling that information in multiple export files. It's a really nice way to organize your code. So I linked this article, right? Perfect. So what you guys have seen so far is this part, the function, welcome. Ignore the props for now. I will talk about props, but you'll have like function, welcome, and return, you know, hello someone. The props being, they think of it as parameters or properties that you're passing it through. This would be, you know, hello, we'll set the props somewhere. Well, it'll have to be in this page, but props would equal some name, and then you'll grab it. Now, what this function does, and what this class welcome extends React component does with a render, not just a return, but a render, they do actually the exact same thing. But why would you use this class component more so than anything else is because if you're setting states, you will need to do a class component as such down here, this cool looking one, or more annoying looking one. They go into more details about it. So this is what a function looks like when it's passing through. Remember, a Babel will transpile your ES6 code into ES5, ES4, whichever website that needs to run on, so older browsers. So this is what a function looks like, and this is what a component looks like, so a lot more complex. So the whole idea is, this is something I still work on as well, is if a specific component does not need to set a state, then you can just write that component as the function that you guys are used to seeing up top here. If for whatever reason you need to set a state for your React app for that specific component, you will have to use this class welcome extends React component. This will make your life a lot easier when you're dealing with setting states for your code. And if you're confused about state, don't worry, we will actually talk about it. Did it download? Okay, it downloaded. So I need to do the next download. Cool. So now the question is, what is the state and what is this component thing that I keep talking about? So in order to understand React, we really need to understand what a state, a prop, and at the end of it all, what a lifecycle component does. So a state, I think, this is actually like the best explanation that they give, and I think it's really cool. This is the one with the clock. React clock examples. Yeah, here we go. So we see that class component that we talked about just recently. If you were to build this example here, I would type in RCC tab. Oh. What's happening? Oh. Let me install it. Make sure it works. Did I uninstall it? What happened? Sorry. I don't know why it's doing that to me. was just working on it yesterday. Everything. Why is my it's this one? Maybe. There we go. That was really weird. So, right, if I type in RCC, press tab, here you go. So by doing so, you are allowed, you're setting your component up to take on state. Okay? So this is the example of a state. So this is the this example that they give you on React, I think is the coolest way to show off state. The idea would be that the data is changing and you can set it to change based on where you want it to change. And this is one of the reasons why React is so powerful. So see this line here, it is this.state.date to local time string, right? So other than this first part, this is just a JavaScript function, right? Set it to local time. We're gonna grab a constructor because do you see how it's extending the React component? This allows you to build a class and set your state to be a date. So this is where we're going to be, saying, hey, this is the key value of, on this state, the key value of date is going to take on a new date. Again, this is all just like vanilla JavaScript stuff, right? Then on this ticker, it's going to update every time to the local time, including the seconds. So where was the, you have to click on it. This, there's a better example in here, but I don't know where I can find it. But this is the second part. So every time I refresh, because this is static right now, open. This is going up by every second. So every time this second is going up, there's activity happening on this state. So on this H2 tag, which is the time here, it is resetting the state number here. So basically the idea, what it would look like theoretically is the state will change to 7/1854, then 7/1855, and so on and so forth. You have the power to make all of this data change happen in an instance. And again, the cool thing about React is it will own this state change. This is the only part it's going to render. It's not going to render anything else on your page. It's only going to render this small part. So that also makes it faster when it comes to reloading and loading. So conceptually, do you guys understand state, or do you guys want another way to explain it? Got one. Got it. Think I kind of get it. And again, this is, oh my ears. This is a really hard concept to understand right off the bat when you're being introduced to it. Props are just think of it as like variables that you're kind of passing through. State is the really important part, which is you want to be able to have control over the data that you're grabbing. There really is a better explanation. Just can't find it. Because when I was thinking of how I can explain the concepts to you guys, I pulled up all these like articles. Can't quite find the one that I wanted for this one. Nope, not this one. No, I'm not giving you guys that one. That's way too much. There's a concept called drilling, prop drilling, that you need to avoid doing, but that's a whole other thing. So, did everything install? Yes, it is. There it is. Materialize CSS and React Materialize. Let's see. Grabbed it. So, there it is. That's what I wanted. So you still need to have your index HTML page set up with the copy pasting. Just here real quick. Let's go to the CSS. Client. Oh, no. Should be fine there. Do this. So you have to link into here. So sometimes the better method is just to, oh God, where'd it go? Oh God, I'm spilling my spaghetti in front of the students. That's not good. And if I do this, I don't have to, set all that up here. Hopefully this works. It's crossed. What does a nav bar look like? Nav bar. I'm gonna get rid of this. Too hard to read. Ooh. I need to click that. Let's mess this up. Then import navbar from all those. Okay. Sorry, I should probably explain. So what all of that happened just now was just like any other index HTML page that you guys work with, when you're bringing in like a new, like a Bootstrap or Materialize, you have to set all the like import it in and all that stuff, right? So nothing new there. It's just that when you download something from npm install, you have to like, you can either link to, you can either relative path down to where that file structure is, you know, the CSS and the JavaScript, or you can move it out, whichever one is easy for you. And after you do all that, you go to the components that you want to work with. So I'm going to import, you know, specifically what I want to do. So you can either import, you know, I don't think a Materialize has all, but when you're working with React, for example, you guys did import React from React. They're taking parts of that library and you're saying, for this specific code, I'm going to use them. Now, it is very good to limit what you are going to be importing in, because if you have just too much happening in one page or one file, it does make it lag out just a little bit more. So it is better to just have a few of the ones that you just want to have and then grabbing them. So I should be able to take care of everything on this end now. So let's go into the client. Let's type it in there. Nope. If it pops me an error, then I know what the error is, because it's probably going to be like where I linked all my stuff. And it's not going to show right now because, yep, there it is. What's the error? Can't resolve. Yeah, dev utils. It does not like what I downloaded. Hold on. Did Materialize? Did they change something? No, this should be it. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what this error means. Also, my computer's freaking out right now, so something's happened. Okay, hold on. Wrong click. I wonder if they changed it. Ah, that's where it is. Okay. Man, that's painful. Hold on, before I pull the plug, I should really make sure. Yeah, hold on. So it looks like there's a new version for Materialize CSS. So let me see if that's the correct link. If so, then they did not update their website. Cool. No, that's fine. No, that should be fine. The payment still materialized. Yes, this is fine. If I don't resolve this in 5 minutes, I'm just going to take off materialize real quick and find another framework, because I don't want to waste too much time on dealing with debugging, and I would rather just show you guys like prop stuff. Yeah, okay. And it sucks. Where's the short key? Yeah, it is on. Cool. Oh, we'll see this React materialize. And it'll tell me. Yeah. Sorry for the delay, guys. I don't know why it's acting weird. I'll grab Bootstrap, maybe. What's this on? Okay, so it looks like I do have to add those on the CSS. So, oh my god, web modules, assets, CSS, picture lines, get rid of. Grab style. Oh, grab style sheet. It's only by accident. There it is. Okay, let that calm it down just a little bit. I have to grab this. Oh, wait. Bundles of all components exported, blah, blah, blah. These bundles are rendered as well as in the npm package, so that should be fine there. Let's go to no. I shouldn't have to do that. I downloaded. Oh, sorry. React Bootstrap. Is that the one I have to grab? Cool, it's still there. Can't find it. So let's cheat a little, because I think we use Bootstrap for your guys' class stuff. Did you guys? Oh, fine. Can't find it right now. That's not good.
Oh, actually, wait. They might be cool with it. Okay, let's check it out. Sorry. We're gonna see if I don't have to do that, which would be great. Gonna all delete. Once you see it, import nav bar. Nav all. Import nav bar. Nav drop down. Nav. Let's see if that's all you need first, and then we'll probably figure out what hasn't been imported from here. Bootstrap? Oh, wants nav as well. Form. And form control and button. Looks like we got everything. Just to make sure. Some components end up in like separate libraries. So do you see how there's like React buttons? Okay, cool. I think we got everything. Is it React Bootstrap? Man, I don't know what I messed up. Hold on. Not super sure what happened, so instead of making you guys wait this entire time, sorry about this. I'd rather just restart it. And then just work with Bootstrap and make it simpler. I'll set up the files in like 30 seconds. Hold on. Oh, my thing is yarn. Okay, cool. Sure. Ah, okay, I know why. So remember when I said you have to pick between yarn and React? What was it, npm? I should have yarn started, not React. npm started. XD. That's actually kind of what happened. No, wait, that shouldn't have mattered. Because I could still start it back when it was nothing. Okay, did I delete something? Yeah. Sorry for all the technical issues. I've done. Oh, this is a note. Should look something like that. Oh, for a different class. There we go. And then turn. That'll be div. D. Give me a basic nav bar. Mm-hmm. Okay. We have bootstrap. Yep. And we'll just grab those three and get rid of the foreign in line. There. Clean that up. It's already exporting it out. Let's format it real quick. Just get rid of the useful stuff. Import navbar from. Isn't that? I should be able to unmute you. Okay. Oh. All right. Just take this part out. Oh, what's the error? What's happening today? Why is this happening? Because that's a React DOM error issue. I didn't get rid of anything. Cool. Likely forgot to export your component from the file it's defined in. We could do this. God, I miss my RCC. Okay. Hold on. If I point this out. Hello. Sorry. So, okay, so it didn't like how I imported it. So my source components should be on the same level. So, oh wait, did I? There we go. Save. I put it in my notes, and I totally forgot that. There we go. Okay. That was a headache. So yeah, I do have to put that styling paper in that I mentioned. Let's see if I can just copy paste these in and it works. For React, or Bootstrap at least. And is that all of it? Nope. Oh, computer. Oh, this is the one I want to avoid. Import Bootstrap CSS and optionally Bootstrap CSS theme CSS in the beginning of your source index.js file. Sure. Hey, cool. That solved it. Thank you, Internet. So the basic gist of all that mess was, what was it? I don't think this is required, so I should be able to take that out and it should still work. Yeah, cool. That was like server maintenance stuff. Looks like when you're working with Bootstrap specifically, you don't have to put any of the style sheets on here, which is great. All you have to do is download, npm install React Bootstrap right here. And once you React Bootstrap install it, you go to your components and you would import whatever specific things that you want to work with your React Bootstrap. So if you want to work with a button, right, you would be adding the button on the import file here. And where would I want to put a button? Like, let's say I want to put a button here for some reason and say, hi, I'm a button. I don't know if that will work. I don't even know if that's how you, yeah, cool. There's one button. You have to always import every single part of the things that you want to import in. You can just import in the entire thing. And like I said, that is a possibility, but you'll have a lot of lagging issues going along with this. So it's just better to always specify per page what you want to drag in. Within the render and the return as well, do you see how it's all within the div tag? This is always imperative to do so when you're, because you're returning a div at the end of it all. That's going to be holding all the content. In terms of spacing, right? You guys are used to Bootstrap and the container having some measures of like margins on the side. That won't be an issue with this particular one. You can obviously customize it by using, it's not class, but class name and referencing in another CSS file. That's what intrinsic to its own component. But this is something that you'll need to do in order to pass this rendering to show onto your React page. So once I import everything in and then I export it, I'll go to app.js. I will import in the component that I want to show. And remember, the app at the end of the day is the parent levels, where everything is at the way top. And then you'll just grab in the nav bar. And let's add the node as well. I'm going to ignore the footer just to save time, because I think there's enough time debugging as it is. Again, sorry about that. I also don't know why my fancy React shortcuts aren't working. There's like a note that I can just grab. Oh God, no, not that one. I know what that one is. Type this box. Oh. Box. Yeah. Anything cool here? No. Oh. Cards? Cards. Oh, savior. Import card from React Bootstrap. Should solve that. Oops, not there. It's not gonna run because I have to get the button. Cool, did that. Go to app.js, import. I think we called it note from components. Note. Yeah, whoop. Forgot the name. So this does go in not chronological. This does go in order from top to bottom. So I put the note here. Yay, it's here. Cool. So what was it? Was it form submit? Actually, I might check. Oh, I just keep finding better stuff as I dig along. Thank God. I'm just going to change that real quick. Yep. Format, form and button. So just change the form. Cool, everything worked. Oh, so much better. We're going to simplify this. Take out this password stuff. Cool. I'm not hitting the refresh button, by the way. It's just doing it on its own. And I'm going to make an extra form text right below. Let's call this title. And yeah, I definitely don't think I'll be able to finish this because I'll probably end the session in like 5 minutes. So sorry about that, but hopefully this helped a little bit. Grab this. here. Comment this out. Text. Comment here. Oh, right, I didn't press save. And text here. Or title here. So do you see that little edge part that's happening there? You can resolve that by going to, was it container or grid for Bootstrap? Container. Like just like how you're just using Bootstrap that you guys are used to. I'm doing the exact same thing. Cool. Then I need to import container. There, looks better, right? Right, all I did was, hey, all the text was like way at the edge. It looked really ugly, so I just wanted to change all that, so I put it in a container, right? The Bootstrap container. Enter email has a cool looking box. Is it because of this thing here? I think so. Yeah, it's because of this thing here. Right below. There we go. And then instead of enter email, type in your note here. So that's kind of how you connect everything together. If I were to have a footer, right, I would just put it, where is it? App.js, right? Import in the footer here, footer here. So again, everything kind of goes from top down. So this is how you would organize things. Makes sense, nothing too unusual. So go through all that development. And from here, you would basically, so that when you click on the button, it'll send the information to the database. And you can actually go through routes as well. Unfortunately, it's not connected at the moment. But a quick way to connect is something called proxy, which I want to show you guys real quick. So the often things that kind of confuse people is how can I run both the back-end server and the front-end server together, right? And I'll end with this. Because usually you guys have both running on node, what was it, localhost 3000 and stuff, right? So what would happen is, see how I've set two separate folders? One is for the client and one is for the front end, or back end and the front end. I'll go to the back end. And I'm going to change the port to 3001. Go to client. And I think it's under, yeah, package.json. And I'm going to add an extra part here called proxy HTTP localhost 3001. This is telling us that there's going to be a proxy localhost running along the way. Now, this isn't actually the end because we need to use something called concurrently npm. One second. So what concurrently npm does is it allows you to run, multiple scripts, like multiple commands together, hence the name concurrently. So what you should do is you should npm install. Actually, no, let's not save that. I need to make sure I'm in the client. Yep. Just make sure. add it on. There it is. So onto your scripts, you would, I'm just gonna change this up a little bit. Say concurrently. I always mess this up. CD. Oh wait, yeah. Have to leave. CD server. And node server.js. And cd client and npm start. First, hold on, get out, then cd. Yeah, that should take care of it. If not, if I don't take care of this right now, I'll send you, yeah, I'll send you guys this on Zoom immediately after I'm done, because I know where it is for my code. Yeah, 1 second. Good, I'll get over right now. Let's go to my React application. Oh, so much stuff. Oh wait, it's not this one. It's the other one. There you are. Ah. So this is what it would look like here. So you would put this into your scripts. If you want to call this start, it's totally fine. But the idea is by doing so, you'll be running both the backend and this front end together, even though they have their own separate package JSON files and things like that. And by doing so, because your backend and your front end is running, that when you're passing through data and stuff, when you're passing through data between the front and the back, it will, because both servers are running, that it should integrate well together. And because of the proxy that you set up in your in your client side, it will recognize that this is the port that I need to reference, that 3001 port, which is what we specify in the server package JSON, or in the server side, right, in Node Server JS, that this is where I need to link to, and by extension, this is how, when it runs together, the React application knows, okay, this is where I'm going to send and grab my data. So with that in mind, sorry for a lot of the technical difficulties here today. I thought I worked everything out, but I guess not. I need to check on my own and stuff. But are there any other last minute questions before I finish up? And again, this will be on YouTube, but this one was a hell of a mess. So. Yeah, if there's no other questions, I'll end the thing right now. Again, thanks everybody for coming. I hope that it helped at least a little bit. And yeah, I'll upload the YouTube video as soon as I can, and I'll put it on the Slack channel, and I'll send the YouTube channel over to, what was it, JD, so that he can give it to everybody else. All right. Hope everybody else has a really nice Sunday night. Yeah. And take it easy, guys. See ya.